Welcome back to Lost Treasures. In this video, we'll be exploring the lost treasure of the Cahuenga Pass. A stone's throw away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood lies the notorious Cahuenga Pass. Notorious for being the hiding place of one of the world's most cursed treasures. The allure of this treasure has claimed the lives of 10 victims between 1860 and 1940. Let's explore how these unsuspecting victims met their fate and where the treasure may be hidden today. The curving Cahuenga Pass, also known as El Portozuelo, the Little Doorway, was an Indian trail followed by early California explorers. Ultimately, the stretch of trail was incorporated into El Camino Real, colonial California's north-south thoroughfare. The story starts in the early 1860s, when the French, under Napoleon's rule, installed Archduke Maximilian of Austria and his wife Carlotta as Emperor and Empress of Mexico. The country's president, Benito Juarez, launched a fierce resistance to the imposition of European monarchy on his people. After amassing more than $200,000 in gold, diamonds, pearls, and other heirlooms, 4 trusted Juarez agents set out for San Francisco from Mazatlan to buy guns for the democratic struggle. But before they reached their destination, one of the agents died a sudden and mysterious death, the first of 10 to come. Suspicion of foul play at the hands of the French secret agents kept the remaining 3 alert for the rest of their journey. Arriving in the Bay Area, they found the place crawling with French spies and quickly headed for the hills of San Mateo, a short way out of town. Dividing their funds into 6ths, they wrapped each portion in buckskin and buried it deep in the ground outside San Francisco for safekeeping. Unnoticed by the agents, a Mexican shepherd named Diego Merino had observed the men. After they left, Merino unearthed the bundles. Rejoicing at his amazing luck, he fled south to his home in Sonora, Mexico. When the 3 agents returned to claim their treasure, they discovered the theft and began to suspect one another. 2 of the agents argued and ended up killing each other, causing deaths number 2 and number 3. The 3rd agent, Captain Henry Malcolm, was exonerated in their deaths, but would later become death number 4, dying after breaking up a fight in a bar he owned near Tombstone, Arizona. Merino, following the supply route that snaked through the Cahuenga Pass, stopped at a tavern in an area called La Nopaleria, or Cactus Patch, where he rested. That night, he reportedly dreamed he would die if he dared to enter Los Angeles with the stolen treasure. Shaken, he buried the treasure-filled packages under a nearby ash tree. One day, when the so-called angel wasn't looking, he would return for the treasure. Merino continued his journey into Los Angeles. For a year, he waited for his moment, hanging around the area even though he could not find work and was starving. Eventually, in 1866, Merino fell ill and went to see his friend, Jesus Martinez. To repay Martinez for his kindness, Merino divulged where he buried the treasure. He stated that the treasure was on the side of the pass, about halfway from the tavern to the summit, on the hillside opposite the main road. Merino then fell into violent convulsions and died, becoming the 5th victim of the treasure's curse. Before drawing his final breath, Marino was unable to warn Martinez about the warning he received in his dream, nor the other deaths that had transpired because of the treasure. After burying Marino and lacking that key piece of information, Martinez and his young stepson, Jose Gumecindo Correa, obliviously headed for the Cahuenga Pass and exposure to the treasure's curse. They eventually found the ash tree, but just before Martinez began to dig, he suffered a seizure, collapsed, and became death number 6. Correa, terrified and convinced the treasure was cursed after witnessing the death of both Marino and his stepfather, ran away. 2 decades later, in 1885, a Basque shepherd who regularly grazed his flock in the Cahuenga Pass unearthed a tattered parcel containing 100 gold doubloons, several fine watches, and fistfuls of jewellery after his dog stumbled onto it under a tree. Elated by his newfound wealth, though unaware that 5 similar packages were concealed nearby, he displayed his discovery at 6 Mile House Tavern, known today as Sunset and Goa, to his friend and proprietor Laurent Etcheper, and swore him to secrecy. The shepherd, now rich, decided to leave Los Angeles and return to his native Spain, boarding a ship with the treasure sewn into the lining of his clothing for safekeeping. As he approached the port of Barcelona, the shepherd spotted his family waiting on the dock. He leaned over the railing to wave and tumbled into the water. The weight of the treasure in the lining of his clothing dragged his body deep into the ocean, and he drowned. His body nor his treasure were ever recovered. This left 5 parcels containing treasure waiting to cast a curse on the next unsuspecting victim, to add to the body count of 7 already claimed. By 1894, Correa, Martinez's stepson, now a grown man and former Los Angeles lawman, had overcome his fear of the curse. Curiosity got the better of him, and he planned an excavation with the help of Major Horace Bell, a local rancher and publisher, and the man who perpetrated the curse in his memoir, On the Old West. As 3 decades had passed, the ash tree had been cut down, so Correa and Bell hatched a plan B. They'd lease the surrounding acreage under the pretense of farming, hoping the ploughs would unearth the hidden buckskins. That September, following a meeting with Bell, Correa was shot and killed by his brother-in-law, with whom he had been feuding, on Boyle Avenue, downtown, bringing the death toll associated with the Cahuenga Pass treasure to 8. At the turn of the 20th century, Etcheper, the owner of 6 Mile House and the one who the Basque shepherd told about his treasure, sold 6 Mile House, and according to a 1940 American Weekly report, vanished from record. In 1901, he was actively planning his own treasure hunt, but died at the age of 45 from psoriasis of the liver. 4 decades later, the curse of the Cahuenga Pass claimed its 10th and assumed final victim. In 1939, just 7 months before the first segment of Los Angeles' second oldest freeway, the 1.5-mile Cahuenga Pass freeway opened, Henry Jones, an oil and mining expert from San Francisco, joined forces with Walter Coombs, a mechanic from Bakersfield, and his uncle, Ennis Coombs, a novice inventor, to challenge the mysterious unforeseen forces guarding the cursed treasure. Using Coombs's metal detector, the men became convinced they had located the gold and jewels about 15 feet below the surface in the parking lot behind the giant acoustical shell of the Hollywood Bowl. The group sought and obtained the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors' permission to begin digging, after promising the local government a share of whatever they uncovered. But suddenly, the Coombses departed, taking their metal detector with them. Their change of heart was attributed to fear of the curse and the unwillingness to become the next victims. But, curse or no curse, the great treasure hunt would get underway, as proclaimed by newspapers. Jones assembled a new team that included former Hollywood stuntman Ray Johnson and Highland Park inventor Frank Hoekstra and his two sons. On November 27th, 1939, battling the warm sun, buzzing insects, 3 film crews recording the moment, alongside radio, the group of self-taught treasure hunters started to drill through the sticky asphalt outside the Hollywood Bowl. The dig attracted hundreds of spectators, creating a carnival-like atmosphere, with an upstart vendor selling popcorn, a security fence erected outside the site, and hired guards working overtime, tossing out would-be claim jumpers to the treasure. Each time the animated needle on Hoekstra's electrochemical recorder went wild, they were enthused to continue to dig. Sightseeing buses even added it to their routes and circled hourly. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of action with regards to finding any treasure, and the excavation seemed doomed from the start. The walls of their shaft continually caved in, and Jones, who was staying at the Padre Hotel on Cahuenga Boulevard, wrecked his car on the short drive to the bowl. On day 9, they reached a depth of 22 feet. County engineers monitoring progress determined they had dug through soft fill dirt brought over from the surrounding hills to build the bowl parking lot atop the original canyon. By Jones's calculations, they were within 5 feet of the treasure. 2 feet deeper, they punctured a bubble of subterranean gas. Jones insisted it had been created by the corrosion of buried gold. At 27 feet, they found the roots of long dead trees and shrubs. Another 10 feet and they would be rich, said Johnson. Instead, they hit water and flooded their shaft. For 3 more days, Jones and Johnson slogged through mud until they struck a boulder. Reluctantly, the weary treasure seekers threw in the shovel, but not before first filling up the hole they created, although they had prepaid $100 for its restoration. Jones returned to San Francisco, broke and broken-hearted. 37 days later, on January 26, 1940, he was found in a parking lot, slumped over the steering wheel of his car. He had attached a hose to the exhaust pipe. A suicide note beside him explained his wife wanted a divorce. His name was the 10th and final added to the list of victims. Other treasure seekers were denied permits until 1974, when the border supervisors granted William Boyle of Norwalk a one-day $200 permit to pursue the loot with his newfangled mineral rod, which he claimed would point to gold up to 10 miles away. He too came up empty-handed, but he discovered that his biggest prize was returning home alive, one of the few treasure seekers to escape the curse. In a town that has made its fortune peddling fantasies to the world, the real treasure of Hollywood's Cahuenga Pass may turn out to be the story of the curse itself, or it might just be the case that the treasure does in fact exist and is still waiting to be found. Thank you for joining me on this journey to uncover the story of the lost treasure of the Cahuenga Pass. Please like, share and comment below. I will be releasing videos every Thursday. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to ensure that you don't miss them. Until next time, thank you.